Hello guys, welcome to the new video. Today I'm showing you some tips and tricks about Le Mans Ultimate and what you should do as a beginner in this new game. Some gameplay control, sound and graphic settings which are gonna help you actually to make your life easier in the game, and what you should do as soon as you get into the game. I hope you like the video and subscribe if you like to. Cheers! So as soon as you get into the game, this is the first screen. What you should do is go into the settings, check your gameplay stuff, like how much adjustment, how much assists you would like to have. Me personally, I turn everything off except the clutch. I turn off racing line, steering help, or position lock, braking help, anything, because I like to have full control of my car and I want to fully learn, I guess. I like the learning curve in new games, so I really like to keep everything like pretty simple. In the control section, if you're using a wheel and depending on your wheel, you need to go into the controls and set up your buttons on the wheel you're using. So I cannot help you with that because everybody has their own preferences. So adjust the buttons before you start the game, because otherwise you'll just have to back up into the controls and adjust the settings and vice versa. When you go into the calibrate section, you got the steering and the throttle inputs, brake and clutch inputs. So I keep the steering settings on the auto, so the turning wheel, the rotation angles and everything is as the car in the game. I think that's the best option, because if you want to experiment with the settings, you can, but for a beginner and if you're just starting out the game, you just need to find your pace and find your settings from the auto settings, I guess, if that makes sense to you. In the steering, throttle and brake clutch settings, you need to adjust the maximum and the minimum. For me, I had to adjust my brakes. It was the most frustrating thing for me actually in this game, because it was set to max and my pedals, I had to press them so hard. So I set my minimum where it is and the maximum where my feet feel comfortable, where the maximum is. When you enter the force feedback settings, I turned off invert force feedback. I put my force feedback strength on 80% because my base is really heavy and hard. And force feedback smoothing at 5 and the minimum steering torque is at 0. I put up 130% on the collision strength. And I turned off constant steering force effect, as I do not like that. The graphics settings here, you really need to adjust everything. I put everything on high, it's on 4K, my graphics card can take it, but this is pretty much personal preference, I guess, and your PC capabilities, I guess. The sound system, I turned music off. I don't need music, I like to hear the sounds of the car and stuff like that. So let's get back into the racing. You press the race weekend, you select the bottom one, season 2024. You select the track you are familiar with, I guess. For me it was, I knew most of these cars. My favorite was Spa and Interlagos, so let's say you pick Spa. You do not pick the hypercars, you do not pick the LMP cars, you pick the GT3 cars, and the McLaren is the one that's free if you bought the early access. If you bought the pack, you get to choose from all of the GT3 cars. That's the BMW, Corvette, Porsche, Ferrari, I guess. So you press this and you select the livery. You turn off qualifying and the race. You turn these off. If you want to be on the track alone, you turn these off. So the cars will not bother you and stuff like that. I like to have some cars on the track, and then you start the race weekend. As soon as the game loads, depending on your PC, you will be put in this section here. So this is the car list, the driver list, what you want to pick it, the tire compound status and stuff like that. You want to go into the car setup as soon as you can, and the fuel, adjust the fuel ratio. So you obviously do not want a full fuel tank, because that will make the car heavier. So you basically put a few laps, how much you think you will drive, I guess. And because the setups are fixed almost in every daily race when you're a beginner, you do not need to adjust anything else. You just press start driving and try to get the hold of the car and stuff like that. When you are in the pits, you will have a pit limiter. Obviously, you binded it on your wheel. Do not over exceed the speed limits in the track, because you will get a huge penalty of a drive-through and stuff like that. On the exiting of the pits, the tires are cold, the brakes are cold, the track is cold, the car is cold, everything is cold, and the grip is zero. Trust me, you will spin out even if you have traction control at maximum. It's just how the car behaves, and you will feel less force feedback until the tires get heated up and the brakes and everything gets up to its working temperature. In this game, I like the braking system. I think it's one of the best systems made out there in the sim racing world, and you just cannot stop the car with cold brakes as you could with like heated brakes and stuff like that. So as soon as you get the hold of the car and feel of the track, I suggest you make one slow lap to heat up the car, heat up the tires, heat up the brakes, and you will get a better time, trust me. One thing to know about this game's braking system, I really liked it, and I one thing to know about this game is the braking system. Like, you can lock up your brakes, not like in many other sims. You can just press the brake fully at 100% and nothing happens. The car is stopping, everything is flush, and everything is working. Let's see what happens. You're locking up, you're going straight forward into the barrier, out of the track, and in the LMP and Hyper cars you have no ABS, so I would suggest practicing without ABS, or at least lower the ABS settings on the GT3 cars as well, so you can get that feeling of the locking up of the brakes. The braking system is really one of a kind in this game. So basically I will show you, I put the ABS on 0. I will show you what it means actually to lock up your brakes. So we're driving here, I'm gonna fully press the brake. The car is locking up, I have no control over the car. It stopped, but it overheated the tires. It made me lose control of the car, and it just made you slower. So pay attention to the braking as much as you pay attention to the throttle input. So all of these cars have traction control. You can set it up whatever you want. I prefer mine at 5 or 6 depending on the car, maybe more if you're driving in the LMP cars and the hybrid cars. If you really want to have a good time in the LMU series, I think you should adjust your settings as you want. Pay attention to your braking, really important. Heating up the tires, your video settings and the sound settings, adjust them, adjust the camera angle, response, brake maximums, throttle maximums, inputs, all of the stuff really important together, and it will make your life easier in this game. I hope you enjoyed the video, and press the like button if you do. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you for listening. Cheers.